Welcome back to West Texas View.
When this idea became then ready to be implemented, then the first thing that happened was the Abel Hanger Foundation and some other very generous funders got together and said, let's do this right. Let's do this first class, because Midland always does things first class. And so they began the process of having architects and consultants come in. And that's where you two were hired early on so that you could begin to make sure that you had all the things that you needed. Talk about the technology, because that's the thing that nobody wants to know about. They just want it to work.
You know, Gary can talk about the technology, but I want to tell you how we got there, and that was the fact that our tenants said they needed it. So many tenants had not had, you know, the latest equipment or the knowledge to use the equipment they
Somebody
had
given
a lot
them
of donations,
cast-offs.
a lot of generous people, but they were giving things that may be outdated or gently used, as they say. So right off the bat, that became clear that that was important to our tenants. That meant that it was important that we hire somebody like Gary to help us with it. So do you want to talk about the IT?
Yeah, plus a lot of nonprofits may get technology where they're given to them and they've not been trained or educated on how to use the technology or how to most efficiently use the technology to get certain things done. So part of the focus again was not only using the technology but training them on how to best use this technology, whether it be software for like Office and Excel and PowerPoint, to using things like in the cloud and on the web, of starting to use those technologies to better move their mission forward and communicate with the community on their mission.
And communicate with the new generation that does it that way. And so if they weren't, they were going to fall behind.
Well, and that's just one of the shared services. That's what we call a shared service, meaning that we're offering it to all of our tenants. But there's other things like maybe group audits, so that you don't have to hire an audit independently, because all 501c3 should. We're putting packages together so that we can better serve not only the auditor, but obviously our nonprofits.
But you know, those shared things they don't have to have stuff built in.
No.
And like, how do you know you've got enough wiring to put computers in every office?
Well, about the time you do, it changes. There was a lot of design going into it, and having people involved that would help us with that.
Especially since most nonprofits don't have access to the technical people to help them do that. So that's what Midland Shared Spaces was able to do, was create that infrastructure of technology to support all these different nonprofits. So there wasn't this hodgepodge of networks thrown together by each nonprofit. Now we have one big, massive system that I maintain that everyone benefits from, that no one agency would be able to have done themselves. And not only does the nonprofits themselves have access to that, but people in the community get to come and take advantage of it, whether it be in our boardrooms or training rooms or doing web conferencing. All there in that building. And again, something that not any one nonprofit would probably been able to do by themselves. But now we all do it together, and we also learn together.
All of our shared spaces have the IT component. So if you come in to borrow our space at a very nominal rate, you also get the IT equipment that's available, which is state of the art.
And was that a decision that was made then in this vision? When you did this survey and all of the tenants said?
Part of our funders' goal, all the funders, was to make nonprofits Class A business. So to give them the same tools that our business community has. And right off the bat, they felt the nonprofits feel more professional, more business, because we can now communicate and compare each other with the best tools available.
But Gary, when we say you're the IT director, does that mean that you go in and design their web page?
No. I'm a resource that I help, again, educate them on tools they could use to manage and update their own websites. So I could help Agape with their website. I don't do their website. I help them find the best resources, software, and tools so they can maintain their own website. And then that way, since I'm there full time, that resource is available to them and anytime we're open, 8 to 5. When it comes to using technology and laptops, when they would like to train their board members. Again, I don't do the training for them. I help them, educate them on how to use the laptops to train their board on techniques. So,
but when we talk about, we're not just talking about computers. We're talking about telephones. We're talking about sound system.
Yes.
What else?
Everything. I mean, anything technology related that we have in the building, they have access to, they get training on from our phone systems. Learning how to have their phones not only ring at their desk, but ring at their cell phone too. That way they can receive that call that's needed right
wherever
then.
They are.
Yeah, transferring in their voice messages when someone leaves a voice message on their thing, so it's transferred to their email, so they can read a transcription of that, so they can return. So I mean, just again, enterprise level technology made available to our nonprofits.
One thing we have now, thanks to Gary, is remote desktop. So we have the ability to work from a variety of places, home or whatever. That has really helped the nonprofits because we very rarely have enough staff to do everything that needs to be done. So we take things home with us, and that allows us to do that. So he's brought a lot of great tools to us.
But I know that one of the things the tenants have really bragged on is the meeting rooms. And they say it's just absolutely heaven to go in and have all the tools that we need to have a board meeting or to have a community hearing of some kind. And so again, that took planning before you moved in. So these tenants are really reaping a lot of months of planning that went on.
Definitely.
Because how long from the time you started, you got approval for this, were they renovating and working on that? Almost a year.
It was about a 2-year process.
2 years,
It was about a 2-year process. So from the beginning to the end. But it was, renovating a space that was very customized.
But they've got furniture,
Yes,
beautiful
ma'am.
furniture.
Yes, ma'am.
And they've got community room furniture. So, and the break room, they all talked about what a wonderful gathering place that is to network and exchange ideas and to
We've had
solve
a lot of
problems.
good comments just from people living together, having mentors, having peers that they can work with.
We're going to have to take a break now. We're going to be back in just a minute and continue this conversation, or rather finish this conversation and finish the series of programs that we've done about Midland Shared Spaces. Join us in just a minute.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.